When the government fear the people, there is liberty. But when the people fear the government, there is tyranny. The Yoruba socio-cultural group Afenifere backs end bad governance protest, says Tinubu imposed 10 days of rage on himself with his economic policies.
Why haven't we heard from Afenifere? Why is Afenifere not saying anything? Is Afenifere planning to be part of the protest?
Afenifere is not planning to be a part of the protest, but we support anybody who wants to put, they're fundamental human rights. And because we in Afenifere have been warning about this, about the economic policies, that if it continues, if you continue with the subsidies and the high inflation, there is no way you can stop people. You can't tell them not, you can't tell a hungry man to wait. And especially when they look at, what's on the table, and they will realize that, there's nothing for them. And you say, give us some time. Time to do what? Because right from the beginning, we have showed you that you have gone on the wrong path. Afenifere has been saying that we need economic restructuring of this country. We need a political restructuring of this country. But all we have is palliatives and just superficial moves that we can't resolve anything. So we are not sponsoring it or support, but we support their right and we acknowledge and we know why. Because, if you look at, there's nothing new in Nigeria, in this situation, where anywhere you find a government, and I know you will probably know this, like right from 1978, where you had Ali Moscow, when you take out subsidies like this, people rise. And we want them that, you have to apply these policies with a human face. But no, you take out the energy subsidies and everything goes up. And if you realize in Nigeria, we have 90% small and medium enterprises who rely on this petrol, as their energy, and it's quadrupled. Then you have the foreign exchange, which has gone up. So how do you expect people to survive? And you're saying, hold on. So we understand it was, we saw it, and we were like, these policies that you're bringing, this is what it's going to lead to. But now, you don't want to take responsibility for your economic policies, and you're blaming this person or saying, obedience or PDP or even Afenifere or anybody.
So in other words, you are saying, as Afenifere spokesperson, that the Tinubu administration inflicted this 10 days of rage being proposed on itself because of his policies.
Yes.
So you support it. You support the protest.
It's not that we support it. We understand that this is an organic reaction.
What is the difference? We're speaking English now. Afenifere is in support of the protest.
Yes, we support anybody who wants to protest against government policies, which we also understand that they're anti-people.
Everyone who is in support of the protest should come out and speak now. Everyone who is against the protest should come out and speak now. You know why? Because this is the time for us to know who is for us and who is against us. Protest, as we all know, is a fundamental human right. For Tinubu to be having meeting with traditional rulers, I saw data from different Obas, Obis, different community and traditional rulers saying that the protest is not for the good interest of the nation. I am asking, the hunger is for the interest of the nation, right? The pump of petrol, that is the PMS, which is 800 as of today. Some places are even sending 840. That is for the interest of the nation, right? The whole insecurity that you Obas, you Obis, the traditional rulers, the emirs, you people are unable to talk about the insecurity going on in your villages. Is it the insecurity now, the interest of the nation? I think the choice of words, especially in the difficult period of a country of a particular people, is very important. How can you come out to begin to say that the protest is not for the interest of the people? Then, the whole suffering, the whole tragedy that has been going on, is it for the interest of the people?
Okay. You understand? Anywhere in the world, in about 66 black countries, we have had the same subsidies come, and we've had all these governments face riots. So it's not that it's some people who are pushing it or there's anarchy. And the main thing is that we don't support any violence. You understand? We support peaceful protest to voice your concerns. In most cases, it's not the protesters that actually cause the problem. It's the government or political thugs that cause the issues. Because normally people will march, and maybe picket.
Okay.
But
all right. Let me come in here. So I think what we're trying to get is a statement, because Dr. Bati cited some of the groups who have come out categorically to say that we are for or we're against. So being a spokesperson of Afenifere, and I don't which faction, because so that they don't come and say that you were speaking for.
We have only one faction.
Well, I don't think that's
we have only one.
Some people would say.
Yeah.
But so I would like to know who's your leader, right? So that when they want to respond, they won't say that you were not speaking for Afenifere as a whole. But in terms of your side, categorically, are you supporting? Are you going to?
Yes, we support.
Okay,
yes, we support.
So that's a clear statement. Yes. You support. Now, in saying that, what are some of the things? Because what they've said is that if you're protesting, number one, the government has said that it might lead to anarchy, right? Are you concerned about that? Number two is that there are no clearly, who is the leader of this protest? What are your maybe 3 points, 4 point, 5 point agenda that you're agitating for? And what would response or success?
We are not agitating, but we understand that there's a protest coming up.
Okay.
And we understand that it's due to the hunger in the land.
Yes.
And we are cautioning that, look, we don't want any violence. Okay. But we don't know the leaders or, you understand?
But you're supporting the protest?
Yes, we support.
All right, so you go out.
People too.
All right, okay, all right, that's fair enough.
I mean, you've made clear that you are in support of the protests themselves and also the right to protest, because often it seems as though that's a distinction. We support the right to protest, but perhaps we're still cautioning you against protesting. In this situation, when you look at the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are you saying that you are not in support of his presidency? Do you think he has failed, and that is why that is what's led to this situation where protest, a 10-day protest, is just around the corner?
Yes, right from the beginning we've been saying, once it said subsidies were dead, we're like, there's nowhere in the world that you wouldn't have this kind of situation. There was an article which said that the way you are going to, the whole political class is going to move us, and the whole country. It is not those who are protesting or who want to protest that is endangering the polity, it's the government policies. You cannot remove subsidies like that anywhere. Even in England or America, or the richest countries in the world, if you remove the subsidies in England today, within 2 weeks, you will find the same protests come out. So for us to say, no, people should remain hungry, it's totally unfair. And
so you do think that the presidency is failing the people at this point?
Definitely.
You're not in support of the presidency?
Definitely, because we believe that he's being superficial. He should restructure the economy. We have an economy where it's just a processing, it's a colonial economy, I would say, because majority of people are just trading, retail. We have 30% of our employment and income coming from agriculture. We have another like 40% from retail. Now, government after government, what have you done to change the fundamentals of the economy? You understand? And Afenifere has said, look, for us to get manufacturing jobs, which is required, you understand? If you look at the economic history of most countries, you realize that you develop a railway system, because the railway system builds industrialization. Have agreed, you understand? Instead of this north-south, have east. We've, both economic and political restructuring, and we've been pushing it. And all he's done is give 100,000 families these palliatives, not means tested, and we've had this over and over and over. But I think President Tinubu was so sure that he could go where no other government has gone. As bad as General Buhari was, there was an interview, they asked him that, are you going to push these policies? And he said, I can't do it to my people.
Okay, Mr. Aloy, 2 quick things. I asked you a question, which I don't think you've answered.
Yes.
You wanted to know which faction of Afenifere do you represent? You said there is no faction. Okay, let me even restate the question. Yes. Are you in the Baba Adebanjo camp, or you are in the Baba Fashionoti camp? It's a question you need to ask. I am
with Baba Adebanjo. I recognize Baba Adebanjo as my leader.
Okay, very good. Now, to the next question. What's your response to this narrative there are people who say that when President Buhari was there, Northerners supported him. You will not find Northern groups attacking Buhari publicly. They may have been doing it privately, but in public, the Northern media, the groups, the social groups and all that, for the most part, there may have been one or two that were very critical of him. For the most part, he enjoyed the support of his people. Now, President Tinubu came into politics through the Afenifere route. As you remember, yes. I'm not making it up, I was there. Yes. Yeah, I've been in this business for a while. So he came through the Afenifere route, Alliance for Democracy and all of that. He was part of the struggle. Now, people see that, well, they think he's one of your own. Why is Afenifere going against one of their own? Because what is his offense? What has he done?
Because Afenifere builds in social welfareism. Our policy, our ideology is totally different from what he's doing. We believe in social welfareism. He's coming up with neoliberal economic theories that have failed in every black country in the world. So the fact that you've been part of Afenifere does not mean, it's an ideological body. You said it's a Yoruba. No, if you really look at Awolowo and how Afenifere is, we are more about ideology than a prependalist politics. We're not going to say that because Northerners, for some reason, kept quiet on Buhari, we will say that Yorubas, because you're a Yoruba president, we're going to, when you go to a market, it's not your, like Yorubas will say, oh, color, you understand? It's about people are suffering, people are hungry. And even if you look at it, it's Yoruba land that's suffering most. Because, if you look at, in North, they have 90% poverty rate in the first place, already in abject poverty. But what you're doing is dragging Yoruba land further into economic deprivation, you understand? So, of course we have to talk. Even if he was my brother, you understand? Even if he was my father, if we come together and we push him and say, look, we understand these policies. These are things that have been going on for 60, 70 years, you understand? So you don't just come up and you come up with and you see we've been warning him that, look, a president, these policies will never, ever work. So when you're saying that, give us time, you don't take money from an economy and expect it to expand. It's not possible. You've taken, because many people were saying, petrol was consumption. No, in Nigeria, the subsidy of petrol was a production subsidy. And since that has been taken out, it has affected every part of our economy. And so how do you expect that economy to ever grow? Then you let the naira float. You understand? In any other country, they will say, okay, it has a 10% bottom margin, but this fell through 1,000%. And now we can say that, okay, what about reducing the cost of governance? Because if you see, we have about 50% of our expenditure on cost of governance, which covers only about 1% of the population, about 5% at most. Then the rest of our 250 or 200 million people share this 25%. Then we have about another 25% for capital infrastructure. Now, you want to cut out of that, and you're now cutting from the 25% for 200 million people and not doing anything about the cost of governance. So what do you want to tell the youth? The youth are, entrapped, and that's why they are leaving the country.